So here we go. It says determine if the two figures below are congruent. Use the drop-down menus below to justify why. Which angle on figure 2 corresponds to angle J on figure 1? So quite a bit here. I don't know. Is that hard to see on your side? Would you like me to zoom in?
No, I can see it.
You can see it. All right. So the two figures, they appear to be congruent. Kind of visually, you do almost want to count the number of squares. Like there's two rectangles there, and then there's 1, 4 there, and you want to make sure that it all kind of maps out. But they do appear to be congruent because, okay, and this is only rigid motions are used to map the figures. And J, where's J? J is over here on the right. That corresponds to L there on the left. Does that look okay to you? This rigid motion stuff? I don't know. I haven't seen that in a while, but that seems right. All right. Your answer is not correct. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, non-rigid. Maybe that's what it was. Take a look here. Didn't like that. Why didn't it like that? Okay. Two figures are not congruent because non-rigid motions are used. How would we have known that? 7 units followed by dilation. I don't know how we would have known that. But the angles are congruent. All right. Well, they're congruent if it's only rigid motions. So they're saying that, there you go. That part would be congruent, but then because of the dilation, oh, it said congruent, not similar. Okay, I apologize. I did not catch that the first time here. So congruent means they literally have to be exactly the same size. These are exactly the same size. Okay, they're just flipped or rotated or something. There's no dilation basically. So these are congruent, and rigid motions are used. J is the one up here. Question is, which one does that correspond to? And I'm not sure how easy you can see it is, but J is actually rotated down to Q. That's what it looks like to me. So let's try that here. I know we get 2 attempts. Hopefully don't need it. There you go. All right. And you can see they rotate it and then they slide it down. Kind of a cool animation there for that. All right. So these are not the same size. So these are not congruent. That's pretty straightforward. If they're not the same size, they're not congruent. And non-rigid motions are used, but we can now say something about the corresponding side to MJ. Corresponding to MJ, this one here, corresponds to SV here. It's kind of the same orientation, if you will, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if they're not congruent, it's non-rigid. If they are congruent, it is rigid. That's the takeaway so far from our lesson here. All right, so are these the same size?
No.
Nope, they're not congruent because non-rigid motions are used. But A is the one that goes with, looks like letter G there. All right, so 15 of these. You tell me how many more you want us to do. You can kind of see the pattern here. These are not congruent because they're not the same size. Non-rigid motions have been used. Now O to N is kind of this one that's, I don't know how to describe it. It's this one at the top, figure 2, is like rotated kind of down and to the right. So this UT corresponds to the PQ. And so you can kind of like map your way around to see that ON goes with RS. All right, so that would be kind of a thing there. You can kind of see it there. Or they go from the other one, they dilate and then they rotate.
Yeah.
Let's do one more here. Are these the same size, roughly?
Yeah.
Yes, they're congruent. Only rigid motions are used. And then, sorry. Thank you for correcting me there. I heard that in your voice. You're like, nope, that's not right. O to N here. O to N is kind of this long one here. What would it correspond to in the other one?
C and E, or E and C.
Yeah, and the order, I'm going to go C to E. I don't know if it matters, but if you see an error, it might just be flipping the letter. I don't know how difficult they're on that. So can we spend some time working on the other one here? Would that be okay or not? Do you want us to go through
Yeah.
all of the other one? All right. Okay, so this one, some of this can be done by, well, I might need to draw a couple of these. That's okay. So there is a mapping of the letters like from one to another, but I'll put this into the other screen and we'll get some notes for today's lesson there. All right, so the two quadrilaterals here, make them really simple. Make them, don't overdo the drawing here. YLPS VHTK. You want to label them the same way, meaning in the same kind of direction. Y is 57, so V is 57. If S is 18, then K is 18, okay? So they want you to find the measure of angle K, and we have done that. It is just 18. Now, could we have done that faster? Notice that the letters line up. Y goes with V, L goes with H, P goes with T, S goes with K. So in some ways we could have found that without drawing it. That angle can be determined. It is 18 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so look at another one here. All right, triangle MAF can be mapped onto triangle VYG. So MAF, VYG. Again, you got to kind of label them the same direction. Now AF, notice that it's MAF. So AF corresponds to YG. That's why it's so important to get those correct. Find YG. Well, it's exactly the same. And it's because the letters are in the same order. It has to be A, then F, Y, then G. So it doesn't really matter that it's a reflection, like it could be anything. It's the congruence that matters there. Any questions on that?
No.
All right. The delta math kind of was lagging there. All right, we got it. Let's do another one here. All right, so number 3 here, it says that quadrilateral DP VM can be mapped onto quadrilateral LGYW by translations of DP. D to P is the first 2 letters. Can we find the first 2 letters there? Yes. Whenever the letters are in the same order, you can just find it. It is also 17. It's got to be exactly the same. Otherwise, you need to know other information.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it looks like these just get a little more difficult here. Let's keep going though on this. All right. So again, the letter mapping is really important. All right, so measure of angle F is 77. That means A is also 77. If W is 37, that means that E is also 37. And you might think for a moment, well, then I can't find U because I don't have it. But remember, this is a triangle. So you have 2 of the 3 sides, W, F, I, E, A, U. F is 77, A is 77, W is 37, E is 37. So you can find angle U because it's the third side angle in the triangle. All the angles add up to 180. If you got a calculator handy, why don't you calculate angle U for us, please?
Ooh. $66.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they've got to add up. They've got to all add up now to 180. That gives you 96, 103. Yeah, that looks good. So down here at the bottom, this is what the answer looks like. You have to say can or it's cannot. We have not seen a cannot yet, but in this case, it's 66. And you get 2 attempts, so you can always kind of test if you think it's going to work or not. We'll eventually see one where it doesn't. Maybe this one. Not really sure. All right, so quadrilateral CYOF, quadrilateral STUE. So C to Y is the first 2 letters. U to E are not the first 2 letters, okay? And that's a problem. Now, because it's a quadrilateral and not a parallelogram, you can't say anything about congruence between like sides and stuff. Like we actually don't know what this thing looks like. Even though I made it a nice parallelogram earlier, we have no idea actually. So unless the letters line up, and these do not in this case, you cannot say anything about congruence. Is that clear, or do you want more explanation on that?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So I suppose if you're doing this on your own, you could go through and hope that you get a bunch where it cannot be congruent, because you don't have to actually calculate anything, but we'll see here. So again here, they're giving you YX. They're telling you YX is 19.
Hold on.
That's where, do you need a moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your pizza. We're just like 4 slices and what's the matter? Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. So what I was trying to say here, just kind of like the last one here, typically if they don't line up, okay, meaning that like see how YX is the last 2 letters, does that go with GA? No, or it goes with GA, but they're asking about HW. It does not work, and that comes from just drawing and it has to be in the same order: ITYX, and then HW GA. So this side right here goes with this side here, but they're not asking about that. They're asking about the other one across from it, and you don't know if it's congruent or not. All right, so here's do a few more of these. Just go another couple of minutes here. All right, so triangle WZS can be mapped onto OYU. ZS, so again, I look for those 2 letters, ZS, that goes with YU. Does that mean we can find YU? Yes, which is what we want. It is that value. So it can be determined, and its value is 6. It's that given number. So let me just snip that in so you can see that again. You got to choose whether it can or cannot be, and then the actual value there. All right. Let's see here. Last one here. Running out of time here. All right. So quadrilateral YCMV, quadrilateral AUTK. If C is 121, so C goes to the second letter U. Can we find the measure of angle U? Yes. So it's really as simple as that. It's really as simple as seeing if they're exactly in the same order there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop there for today. Got through